guys, Dalek44 here, I need no introduction, but I got one anyway. And welcome to a new instalment of The Villain Files. Most people see penguins as cute, cuddly, friendly little animals that would do nobody any harm whatsoever. That's far from the truth. Some penguins are sinister, evil, and master criminals. And no penguin is badder than Feathers McGraw.
Feathers McGraw is a silent, yet sinister penguin. He is a notorious criminal mastermind and bird of many faces, long thought to be a chicken with the help of his rubber glove disguise. Similar to Gromit, McGraw does not express himself with spoken words, but his facial expressions and body language speak volumes. He first arrives as a guest at Wallace and Gromit's house, having been attracted by the room for rent sign. He was given the spare room by Wallace, but did not like the old run-down looks of it. He instead took over Gromit's room, much to the latter's objections. Since Gromit had to sleep in the older guest room, he took an interest in the techno trousers, which he thought would be useful to him. That night, loud music of his radio annoyed Gromit to keep him up, but the penguin did not turn off the radio until late at night. The next morning, he puts Wallace's slippers on his feet and took the morning paper to Wallace before Gromit, winning the latter's favour and causing Wallace to pay more attention to him rather than Gromit. Bitter and rejected, Gromit left home. A happy Feathers reveals that this was just part of his plan to get Gromit out of the way and modify the trousers for his own purposes. The next morning, Wallace found his normal morning pants replaced by the techno trousers, having been modified by Feathers. Wallace is marched around town on a test run, controlled by Feathers, until he is tired out, with Gromit as a witness. Meanwhile, Gromit notices a wanted poster saying, "Have you seen this chicken?" which depicts a penguin similar to Feathers disguised as a chicken wanted for his many crimes. Gromit grows suspicious and follows Feathers to the museum, where the penguin is seen measuring up the museum using measuring tape. When Feathers uses the tape to get back to the ground, he almost catches Gromit disguised as a boss, but moves on. Gromit later discovers Feathers' plan to rob a diamond from the museum, but was too late to foil it. Feathers used Wallace, sleeping in the trousers, to carry out his plan. He marches Wallace to the museum, uses the suction feet to climb it, and steps off at a window. Wallace is marched to the top, enters through a roof air vent, and marches along the ceiling through many exhibits to the diamond room, with Feathers studying through blueprints. As Wallace was positioned above the diamond, Feathers is forced to modify the position several times before the position is just right. Much like a crane game you'd see in a funhouse. As the claw hooks the diamond, it slips until the penguin catches it with the remote control. He then moved it up into the helmet. But as they try to escape, the tiles come loose and Wallace one off to the side, and the claw activated the alarm. After escaping, Feathers marched Wallace back to West Wallaby Street and revealed his identity. When Wallace ordered Feathers to release him, he trapped Wallace in a wardrobe and prepared to flee with the diamond. But before he could leave, Gromit confronted Feathers with a rolling pin, but the penguin simply responded by pulling out a pistol. That's still hilarious. He forced Gromit into the wardrobe with Wallace and locked the door, but Gromit managed to rewire the trousers to stop their way out. Feathers tried to escape onto the toy train set. He fired bullets at Gromit and Wallace, but missed. He shot off a dog door and tried to escape out it, but Gromit prevented this from happening. After Wallace collected his pistol, they both tried catching the penguin with nets in their hands, but failed. Wallace freed himself from the trousers as the penguin switched the train back. Just as it seemed he could escape, Wallace collected the engine while Feathers' car was stopped by the techno trousers. He flew through the air and landed in a bottle. He was captured and sent to a zoo, where he was to stay for the rest of his life.
While Feathers was arrested at the end of the long trousers, that didn't stop him from getting a few mentions and nods in future shorts.
When Gromit is wrongly imprisoned in the close shave, graffiti on the cell wall reads "Feathers was here," indicating that this was the cell that Feathers was in the wrong trousers, and that he most likely escaped. The penguin's lifestyle of crime is referenced on the television program When Penguins Turn, shown in the Cracky Contraption short episode The Telescope. The latest short film, A Matter of Life and Death, indicated that Feathers escaped again by a new wanted poster and a ladder coming from the penguin habitat, indicating that he escaped.
And it wasn't just the Wallace and Gromit shorts that Feathers got references and mentions in. You also got references and mentions, and even appearances in other forms of media.
Feathers also appears in the Wallace and Gromit video game Project Zoo as the main villain, in which the imprisoned penguin attempts to take over the zoo in order to create a diamond mine. He captures baby animals in order to force their parents to do his bidding. He uses remote controls to control many of his inventions, including his boiler, helicopter, toy penguins, and mining machine. In the final level, Feathers uses an invention called the exoskeleton, which fires missiles and wields buzzsaws. In the game's conclusion, Feathers is defeated, yet he still tries to make one last escape. However, when he exits from his hideout to leave the zoo, the other animals catch him and take him back to his cell. He also appeared in a couple of episodes of the acclaimed show Reboot, where he's seen wandering around the streets of Mainframe, unnamed and unspoken to.
Feathers was so popular and iconic in Wallace and Gromit that he got to be in Gromit Unleashed 2 this year.
In this year's Gromit Trail, which has many statues of Wallace and Gromit around the city of Bristol, Feathers is also part of that. So around the city you can see various statues of Wallace, Gromit and Feathers McGraw as their original selves, and as many various designs from various artists.
Feathers McGraw is definitely one of the most iconic characters in Wallace and Gromit's history, and I really hope they bring him back in a future short in the future.
Since his debut in the Ron Trousers, Feathers McGraw has become one of the most iconic figures in Wallace and Gromit's history, and I really look forward to seeing him in future Wallace and Gromit projects if Nick Park ever considers bringing him back. So as memorable as all the other villains are, including Preston, Victor Quatermain and Pia Bakewell, Feathers McGraw will always be my #1 Wallace and Gromit villain, as well as one of my top villains of all time, which made him worthy for this installment of the Villain Files.
And that's everything you need to know about Feathers McGraw in the Villain Files. Stay tuned for more Villain Files soon in the future. I'm Dalek44, and I'll see you next time, folks. I love this t-shirt.